Abusia be kai video we ya Bossman Asare e wo TV3 so che say oba all out a wo defend NPP say chinchina 7 seat na mo declare after say collation course no 7 seat na mo declare e de ma NPP the NPP deserve it che say Bossman Asare na we proud che say nani agi say wo defend NPP for e wo TV3 so obi a we easy person na wo senka we neutral person na busia Bossman Asare chose to be defensive che say or try the possible best say obe defend NPP after say omo bobo mba 7 and I say nkonya 7 e de ma NPP na busuam san nkonya 7 no mo boy e de ma NPP no e wase kire na mbe kire mo ase MP for tema central ye fa ne owusubempah ababontene aba reveal secret bi a wo chemu say the Mensah na EC na Bossman Asare no kwotena TV3 e defend MPP after collation no ebusuam Bossman Asare no and I say owusubempah chemu say Bossman Asare any obi adi hu nkomo say EC no entimi emma NDC enwini election no we ensama e course so me person ka celebrate na ebusuam yentie conversation yentie send the owusubempah expose Bossman Asare say wo ka kire obi say EC no emma NDC enwini election I say malikbasintale TV so we and the first number channel so bo mo subscribe FMIN.
To my mind, the collation process was still ongoing. And I've heard people cite the case of Tolong, the case of Zavzugu Tatali, the case of Pru. This is exactly what happened in those constituencies. The collation of results through the pink sheets of the various designated polling stations had not been completed. In fact, in the case of Zavzugu, the place was becoming very unsafe for the electoral officers. And so the ballot box, the whole process was moved to the regional office in Tamale. In the case of Tolong, where Abdul Razak became the first NDC MP after Salifu Abdullahi, Honorable Salifu Abdullahi, the wind, there was no way the collation was going to happen in Tolong. In fact, the ballot papers, the ballot papers, including the pink sheets, inserted into the ballot boxes were destroyed. So they moved the process of collation from Tolong to Tamale and asked the contestants, the various candidates in the election to produce their pink sheets. And when they produced the pink sheets, they matched them and verified the authenticity of those pink sheets and collated the results in Tamale. This is significantly different.
And this was in 2004.
It's significantly different from what has happened. Indeed, journalists were at the various polling stations, and no journalist reported that a presiding officer of the electoral commission at the at the collation centers that are now the subject matter of these disputed elections was under attack. No journalist reported that. And police officers were assigned to those collation centers. And we've not heard the police say that they were overpowered by a Marondan group of people and that put fear in them, and so they also abandoned their duty, their post. We have not heard that report. And the rules, CIF 127 says that if your agents, you assign agents to the collation centers, or yourself, you're present at the collation center, or your representatives. If in the event that the results are going to be declared and you abandon the collation center, that should not operate to stop a declaration being made. And so the laws are so clear that I don't think that the court, the High Court, and that's my view, the High Court should have entertained this matter, because there were so many remedies available to the losing candidates to pursue after the declaration of the results. And for me, I think that we should be very careful the path we are treading. And the last question that Oliver Bakavomawo asked is very relevant to these discussions that we're having. He asks whether the EC can recollect results without a court order. Can they? It's my view that they cannot do that. In fact, I even extended to 2020. You remember, I made a lot of comments on the EC changing the results of, the presidential elections 5 times. I simply asked whether the EC could do that without a court order. And today, Oliver is asking the same question. Now,
and the court said what? The EC could do that.
The court even didn't entertain the EC. The court didn't even entertain the EC.
What do you mean by that? The case was concluded.
The case was, the matter never came up. The matter,
that didn't go into the box.
Yes, but the court never pronounced on whether or not the EC can declare results and change the results 5 times. And Samson, this matter is very important for our democracy, for our country, the cohesion of our country. In fact, it is only by God's grace that the people of this country are peace-loving, and they have elected democracy as a form of government over any other government. The conduct of the EC, which is highly incompetent, could throw this country into a mess. And the people, people could rise up against the EC and this country would be in flames. Because even with the 7 constituencies, can you imagine what the conduct of the EC could do in these 7 constituencies? Now, it has been said time and again, and particularly for Bossman Asare, that he's repeatedly said, first he said on radio that the NDC was a veritable threat to our democracy. As recently as November this year, he's reported to have told somebody that the Electoral Commission cannot hand over power to cannot allow the NDC to win the elections.
Really?
Really, yes. In fact, and the person he told that was alarmed.
I don't think this is fair.
No,
what we know about was what is on record, which the statement he made on April 26, 2019, as reported that NDC's posture a threat to Ghana's democracy. And this is what he said. I want to read it because this comes up often and we don't go to the specific statement, and sometimes he himself denies it, even though this is what he said. So he said, quote, "I think if there is anyone who is becoming a threat or a potential threat to the democracy we are practicing in our country, then I would rather say that it is the posture of the NDC. Since this new commission took over, we have noticed some of the things that have transpired. Before the Ayawaso West by-election, allegations were rife that the register was bloated, and we also noticed pictures of bloated papers. So we as a commission, we have seen a particular pattern of the NDC. So I don't see why the NDC will turn around and accuse the chairperson that her actions were a threat to democracy. This is the only commission that is committed to Ghana's democracy because we are operating within the law."
How can they operate within the law? Which law? Their law, which is in their hearts, or the laws establishing the Electoral Commission and the various EI promulgated pursuant to the Constitution? Because we don't see what they are doing founded in the laws. We don't see that. And so let me state that what I have said, Samson, is a matter that can be pursued, and that will be pursued. Because the person to whom he said that to is alive. And the person was shocked that a member of the EC could openly declare that the NDC must not win the 2024 elections. And that person is willing and able, anytime that this matter comes out for investigation, to appear before any committee or commission.
Right, so I will be going to the judgment of the Supreme Court in 2021 about whether or not the EC can correct errors or mistakes. There are those who argue that